Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Cape Rugby TV. It's Wednesday night and of course we bring you the very best of rugby in Western Province and we chat a little bit about what's happening on the international front. Of course, a lot of excitement running around the sevens at the moment. South Africa doing so well. Alright, so special guests on with me this evening. John Dobson, Western Province Coach of the Year. Hello, Dobbo.
Definitely not. Yeah, hello, how's it
What do you mean not? You were nominated by the Western Province Sports Council as the Coach of the Year.
Yeah, that's because they took September to September. If they'd taken October to October, it wouldn't have been.
Well, but that's how it works.
Yeah.
I mean, last year it was Alistair, he remember because he won the Curry Cup.
Yeah.
So congratulations, you are Western Province's best coach.
The only team to lose on the Curry Cup final day.
You won last year.
Yeah. And Riaz, Kahn, welcome back, my man. Nice to have you
Good
here.
evening. Thank you, JP. Thanks. And exalted company. I feel very privileged to be here this evening.
Are you pointing at him?
Yeah, no, not you. Yeah, I'm talking about you.
Right. Right, Dobbo, so you're right in the middle of it at the moment. The Vodacom Cup is, of course, ready for action. I see your guys are full steam training ahead. Nice squad?
Yeah, I think what's exciting is that we've never had a program of club players like we've had over the last while. I mean, I know you were out there, and I don't think any other unions doing that. And those guys, look, they stopped last week, and they worked very, very hard. And in January, we're going to start integrating the two, the professional guys and the best of those. And we've got like 4 really good friendlies lined up for them. There's a good chance for them to come through into the squad. Yeah, I mean, Vodacom Cup's been pushed back to 21st of March, so we've got time. And people always use the argument against the club guys that they aren't conditioned and all that sort of stuff. And I think they've been through a tough, really good pre-season, which is going to give them a chance to compete for places.
So how many of your guys are coming from the ranks? I know that you got this. Jerome is working on this club to Vodacom structure. It's almost like a backup squad that you've got now.
Yeah, we've got he's got 26 guys there. I've got 20 odd in the sort of professional guys and not with the Stormers team.
Yeah.
And that will form, and that's a group we'll use to play a series of friendlies in January to see to choose a final team. It's not high at the moment. At the moment we've only got 2 or 3 amateurs with the professional group. But once we do this process, we'll have a whole lot more.
Are you happy with those guys? Have you taken a look at them? I mean, we've been kind of profiling them for the last 3 weeks. The club to Vodacom squad that's working with Jerome.
They've worked. It started on 35 and they filtered out. I mean, some guys work and that's something the union has to address. Because you don't give these guys a chance to compete if they've got to work the whole day. Then you still want them to gym and still get to Belfast for practice, and you want them to pay for them to get there. It's easy to say to coaches, you must choose so-and-so, or this guy's not conditioned, but we have to help holistically to get these guys a chance to compete. But the 28 guys have stayed, they've worked incredibly hard. They've done a professional level program. And so that I think will stand them in good stead for January when we start this sort of trial process. So I'm very chuffed. I think it's the best we've done with the club system, and I think it's no other unions working in their professional environment with a group of amateurs that good or that intensely,
Well, we went out there yesterday, or at least not yesterday. We went out there on yesterday. We went out to go and have a look at a little gym session. The guys in practice. Let's see what's happening with the Vodacom Cup squad at the HPC. We don't come out too often, but the guys, Vodacom Cup guys, training at the moment. We thought we'd bring them a couple of Cape Rugby TV magazines. Of course, the official Western Province Club Rugby magazine. I don't know if they got one, but we'll leave some extra copies for them. right, there, folks. You see the guys really did train. So, Dobber, you weren't at the practice session. Are you happy to see that they were actually working?
Yeah, no, they've worked hard. This morning, to be fair to me, this morning at 5:30 they were up Table Mountain. So that was good. No, they worked really hard. I'm very chuffed.
So we do. I mean, we watch the guys with Riaz and that. The guys also. A lot of the clubs are doing the strongman session and alternative training. So you say the guys are running the mountain. The guys obviously doing more than gym work in the gym.
Yeah, it seems like things go on in school in cycles. Now suddenly old school became popular again. I mean, in the 70s, oaks were probably carrying tractor tires, you know. Yeah. And now it seems to come back. I mean, they went up Platinum Gorge. I mean,
rope pulling, all of those things.
But it does work. I mean, because about 4 years ago, we had all these physiotherapists and dietitians and personal trainers coming. You got to do Pilates and we talk about this transference, being able to transfer gym or training. You're able to twist. I mean, if you can't get your fingers around a guy's jersey, if you can't get the hooks, the grip, then lifting that tire doesn't really help.
Yeah, technique comes into it as well.
Yeah, you did right. What we're seeing now in World Rugby, everybody's just grading they call it your RTA, your return to action. So when you've made a tackle, it's how you can pop up and get back into the line. And that's what we're trying to do the conditioning around, is that the guys, it's a return to contribute. If you carried the ball and you've been tackled, how hard are you working to then get in position? I mean, some of the All Blacks are streets.
I mean, I look at that stuff in the martial arts space. If you get knocked down, and if you don't get up quick enough, the guy's going to kick you in the head.
Exactly it.
It's as simple as that.
That's exactly it. And our culture in South African rugby, not Western Province, South African rugby, you do a carry or a clean, and you just drop back and stand outside 10 and rest there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you watch the All Blacks, see the way they work from the inside, and it's incredible how they contribute.
I mean, there's a sort of a rolling action that you can do as well that propels your body straight back up. Kobus Fitsaki was actually very good at that. Really? I remember back in the day. He was probably make a tackle. He was a judo guy, so he did judo at school. So he knew that after falling to the ground, which the guys tended to do quite often, was just fall to the ground. If you just tipped your body forward, you could just naturally roll back into position.
The guy said from Ireland, one of the things they learned about the weekend, they were overseas now, a couple of the coaches, was that those guys were training their jump up. That's exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. Once they made a tackle, how they got back to their feet. Do they go their backsides? Do they pop like that? Do they roll? Or whatever,
Yeah. All right, well, you're talking about, we mentioned the prop earlier on. One of the guys we spoke your entire front row. You've got a couple of big boys there. First guy we managed to chat with there, and it's nice just to chat with the players behind the scenes there. Liam Hendricks is, of course, one of the front rankers at the Vodacom Cup squad. Let's catch up with Liam.
My name is Liam Hendricks. I'm a tight end prop. I started when I was probably 10 years old. Started playing, and then I started off as an eighth man, and then currently moving to high school. Then my coach saw, this Oaks not an eighth man, it's a prop, and then eventually started playing prop. I started at loose head, and then eventually started playing tight head, which I was actually very thankful for, but I can play both positions, you understand. I prefer tight head, definitely. Because for my height especially, I can get underneath the loose head and just bring him down and just anchor the scrum properly. I was at Paul Boys High. I matriculated in 2012. I played first team there, and I played Craven Week in matric as well. I played with Andre Pollard, with Chad Solomon, Ramon Samuels, with Wesley Adonis, and when we beat Paul, it was when we beat Grey College, but the worst rugby moment was probably when we lost to Paul Jim into schools. No, I love the HBC. Everyone gives 100%, and Charles the Oak that drives us all. And the Oaks are always keen to be every morning to train. And I mean, it's the best. The best is to keep training hard, and eventually you will reach the benefits. I want to make it, and just want to keep playing hard.
Yeah, so Liam Hendricks there, big boy, Dobber.
Yeah, him and Wes Adonis, the guy he refers to there, the loose head. Wes is about 140. He's massive. He's massive. He's got some dietary issues, but they're too big. Those are two big under 21 props. It's really exciting. They're going to play Vodacom Cup, and they're local boys. They're players of colour. It's just fantastic. Right through the Western.
Nice to see the guys come through the ranks.
Yeah, and they are properly good. They're properly good.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
And talking about the rest, Kyle White, another guy. Now this on the flip side. Also a big boy. Let's catch up with Kyle White.
Hi, I'm Kyle White, and I play loose head prop. I've played rugby ever since I was a little boy. Always enjoyed the sports. Just grew up with it. Loved it. I was at Rondebosch Boys, loose head prop. Always been loose head prop. I think one of the biggest memories was obviously beating Bishops on the Pile Reese. It was a big game, and boys pulled through. Very good game. So that was one of my fondest memories. Well, a lot of these guys around here, they were part of the under-19 Curry Cup side this year that won the tournament. And a lot of us have strong bonds because we were at the Institute together last year. So it's just a good bunch of guys, all working hard, working for the same goals. To be honest, I haven't had much experience with Dobson yet, but comes across as a very good coach, and what I've seen from him, legend. I want to play a few games for Vodacom Cup, and then obviously baby box trials are coming up soon. I'm still under 20, so obviously it would be nice to join the baby box. I think they're going to Italy next year, so that'll be a very nice tour. And yeah, and also under 21 Curry Cup, this will be a great experience. Yeah.
Carl White, Dobbo, also looks like he's got some potential there.
Yeah, gee, they also, the under 19s had two massive props in him and Frans van Wyk, you know. And they pushed no, he's very exciting. Frans van Wyk is already in the Stormers mix. He's just bypassed us. And that's a guy who was playing under 19 rugby last year, is now playing in the Stormers, going to be playing the Stormers friendlies. And Carl and him are built, they look the same. It's hard to differentiate them sometimes, you know.
How do we compare to the other unions, the youngsters coming through?
I think at the moment, I think we had a little dip a couple of years ago. We had one poorish intake at the Institute, but at the moment we are streets. What we've signed, you've seen what we've signed for next year at the Institute. You know, there's some amazing guys. It's Jaco Gous, this is the school's number 8 from Glenwood, Zandberg, and then this intake of the under-90s was a great intake. You know, a lot of them didn't play. JD Schickling, obviously after his neck injury. Jacques Vermeulen played with us and then got injured. Javier Filion, and then Frans van Wyk, Carl White. It's a really good group that are coming through now. Province done really well with recruiting, keeping our local boys. So we haven't had a sort of Pollard escape for 3 or 4 years, and we've kept some really good guys.
Not that we mind really. I mean, if Pollard wants to go play for the Bulls, well, it's your loss. All right then, Freddie Kirsten, also hooker. So we're taking a look at almost that entire front row. Let's catch up now with Freddie Kirsten.
My name is Freddie Kirsten. I play hooker for Western Province, and I study Stellenbosch. I grew up in Wellington. We have a wine farm just out of town, and I went to school at Paul Boys High. Believe it or not, I was inside centre, and then they moved me to 8th man, and then when they saw the place is not there, and then they moved me to hooker. After school, I went to SAS, the Institute, the Western Province under 19s, and I've been at the HPC for 2 years now, working with Charles. Yes, I've been with Jordan for 2 years now. Awesome coach, he brings a massive vibe to the team. So I'm looking forward to hopefully working with him in Vodacom Cup this year. So it's the Vodacom Cup, hopefully correct the wrongs from this year, falling out in the semi-finals against the Pumas. And then Curry Cup, hopefully defending the title and bringing it back home. Funniest guy in the squad, I would have to go with Neil Ulofse. Naughtiest guy, Jean-Luc Duplessis. Fittest guy, Ryan Nell. Fastest guy would be, I would like to recommend myself, but I'd go with Zas. Strongest guy, Frans van Wyk.
All right, a couple of names mentioned there. Dobbo, you agree with him? Are those your standout guys?
Yeah, the naughtiest guy was Jean-Luc Carl's son. He's a guy who just signed back from the Sharks, but he's like all the Duplessis, he's not normal.
Not normal, okay.
So he's Carl's son. And Dan's in the squad as well, which is Daniel, which is Michal's son.
Right.
So
you got two of the Duplessis family in the team.
It was a big loss for, I think everybody was upset when Jean-Luc went to the Sharks. You know, he had some issue, I can't remember, but the Duplessis tend to find issues. I'm teasing. But he's come back, which is great, you know, because he was brilliant at Paul Boys High 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So
What position?
It's a fly-off.
Fly-off?
Yeah.
All right.
But like any other Duplessis, he's got this. He just tackles and runs into anything he wants to.
Rugby in the blood, yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Rugby in the blood.
It's great to have him back. Yeah.
The Prince of Wings. Nice to have the Prince of Wings, as Coral I think was known back in the day, having the squad. Right, folks. Of course, the Vasco Tavern is the proud supporter of Cape Rugby TV. If you haven't got down there yet, make sure you get down to the Vasco Tavern, one of Cape Town's top Portuguese restaurants. You can win a dinner voucher valued at 250 Rand. Just SMS the word Vasco to 33280. Okay, so get down there to the Vasco Tavern and keep your cell phones handy. In a couple of minutes' time, we'll give you an opportunity to win the 250 Rand dinner voucher to the Vasco Tavern. When we take a an ad break. We'll come back and speak to Charles Malherbe, of course, the conditioning coach at the Vodacom Cup. We'll be back at you in a sec. Welcome back, everybody. It's Cape Rugby TV. Remember, you can find us on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Cape Rugby TV, and Matfin. Don't forget Matfin. If you're struggling with your debt concerns and you need to get yourself into a position where perhaps you need to get out of debt, things are struggling a little bit there at home, or you find yourself in an awkward spot, then Matfin Money Matters can help you. Just SMS the word Matfin, or at least the word debt, to 31022. All right, 31022. And Matfin can help you with your financial concerns. Charles Malherbe has been with you guys for a while now. He's been through the ranks at Province and has been coaching there, at least handling the conditioning. How important is the conditioning side of things, Dobbo? I mean, in terms of you being the coach, the rugby coach, you know, there's things that, I mean, we heard now recently Paul True is joining Western Province. Alistair Coetzee is there together with Greg Hechter. They're apparently looking after the front row. You've got Gert Small there. Rito Klangwane has joined. I mean, there's just coaches all over the show. It's kind of hard to work out who does what. But you as the coach, how do you structure it? I mean, how do you put it all together, and how does your conditioning coach fit into that?
Conditioning guys quite integral in that Province set up him and Steph de Toey, because they're actually the sort of nexus, the connection between the team and the coaches. They're in the gym with them, so they learn a lot of info. It's like the physios. They get a lot of info that the coaches, the relationship's a bit more distance. So these guys are really close with the players. They also do all our admin in terms of not logistics. I mean, in the weekly program, because it's all built around conditioning. He will say, this week I need to do this amount of conditioning and this amount of gym, this amount of, and then we sort of build in after it. So he really is he's a sort of team secretary, if you like, in a funny way, the conditioning guy, because we can never go against the conditioning. If he says, you guys need to taper, you can't have more than 120 minutes on their feet this week. Yeah. We build it around then. So he's hell of important, and he gets to know in these sort of tough conditioning, strongmans in the gym, he gets to know this guy's personality. And we let him run with that. The coaches tend to stand off, especially this time of year, because they're going to hear enough of our voice later on. So Charles will come and say, listen, this guy's bailing at training, in the gym. He's not going to, if bails in the gym, he's going to bail at Loftus. So just, you have to word with this guy. So he's very important. Yeah. The physios also get a lot of information off the physio bed. Yeah. When they're lying there for 45 minutes having their back rubbed, they're talking. Yeah, they're talking. So they probably get the more sort of personal stuff.
Have you thought about bringing in a hairstylist?
I haven't.
Because they say that when you go to your hairstylist, you like tell them or the barman. Maybe you should bring in a barman.
That's more useful for me than.
I know, Riaz, who's the guy that you guys talk to the most? Is the barman, the hairdresser? Maybe you don't talk to the barman much, but you might speak to the hairdresser.
No, I think the hairdresser, we leave that to Ricky Peterson. He's got the best hair in Province. I didn't even notice that. But Ricky's got good hair. No, look here, the players mostly speak to, like you said, the physio. They speak to the coaches. They've got the player captain, the club captain. They speak to that person most of the time. And that's where your stories get filtered through, and you hear all these things at the clubs. And like you said, these stories come through from everybody. You know what I mean?
All right then. Okay, so Charles Malherbe is, of course, the conditioning coach of the Vodacom Cup team. Let's catch up with Charles.
Well, we've had a new group of players coming in. Currently, our new intake from the institute, which is around 25, 26 players. And on top of that, we had some under 21 players for 2015. A few of them, 6 or 7 of them left. So in total, our junior squad is about 32 players. We did a five-week program, just mainly focused on strength, prehab and rehab. And as well as having we did have some senior players in our squad, about 5 or 6 of them. Well, we break now on the 17th, 18th of December, and we're back on the 12th of January. Well, next year is obviously back, once we get back in, we've got some junior players playing Varsity Cup, which we have to prepare for to start off in that tournament. And then Vodacom Cup starts in end of March, with quite a big build up to the Vodacom Cup in terms of friendlies. We've got 3 or 4 friendlies and a training camp planned, so it's quite exciting. As you know, the Vodacom Cup team changes every year, so the players leaving, coming in and going out, so we'll have quite a new, fresh looking young Vodacom Cup side. Well, I mean, obviously the goal is to win the tournament. But being a one-round competition and South and North competitions, you don't have time to build into the Vodacom Cup. So you have to make sure that you start well to get a favourable draw in the knockouts. So that's why we're putting a little more emphasis on our friendlies to make sure that we, by the time we hit Boland on the 25th of March, I think, that we are ready to go.
Charles Malherbe there coaching the conditioning coach of the Vodacom Cup squad, and I think he's got his work cut out for him. Dobbo, as you said, you guys the coaches, you step back a little bit here, but conditioning coaches, they don't tend to let go. They've got to keep you going.
No,
because I mean, today fitness and conditioning, nutrition, everything, especially over the holiday time, you worry about the guys losing it during holiday time.
Yeah, I mean, I think a rugby league of a system in Australia was, I think it's $1,000 a kilo you could find if what you put on over this 2 weeks, you know. So I think in rugby we're still a little bit amateur about these next 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I know what the guys are like. They're going to be at the
You
beach.
get fined $1,000 if you lose a kilo.
$1,000 per kilo. Andy Marinos, remember, he went to league, was telling me, he said, the guys came back in shape.
I'm sure.
Can you imagine for $1,000 a pop, yeah?
Yeah, but our conditioning guys is the whole key to the whole thing at this stage. You know.
And you were saying they're bench pressing 150, those Flango guys, eh?
Yeah.
I mean, so those conditioning guys, they've got their work cut out to get in that certain frame of mind as well to be able to do that.
Did you guys watch the HSBC Sevens at PE over the weekend?
Of course, you couldn't miss that, yeah.
Yeah. Did you go up?
No, I didn't go up, but we had some of our players from the club that went up, and they said it was thoroughly enjoyable. It was brilliant. I mean, to be in that final with that game, excellent, man.
You know, it's been a year now, because the last year exactly this time, we had Carl Brown on the show, and of course that was a tribute then to Nelson Mandela, and they literally played. You know, we had him on the show, Carl Brown, the captain of the Springbok Sevens, the Blitzbokke. And he was talking a lot about how that motivated them. You know, can you believe that it's been a year?
No, but they've made a lot of strides under new Paul now. That Sevens team is doing extremely well. I mean, they played last year, they played with passion and pride, and this year they played with passion, pride, commitment, and they had all around the team which looks much more gelled than what they did a couple of years ago.
But you're talking about teams that have kind of gelling. I mean, it just strikes me that Fiji are not the powerhouse that they used to be. It's a different team.
I think they've got some other issues. They've got a lot of players leaving Fiji. For some reason, Sri Lanka is picking up a lot of Fiji.
Sri Lanka?
Yeah, it's odd. It's curious. But they've got a lot of guys playing, you know, just the money. If they get into even a championship gig in the UK or a French Pro Du, or the second division, whatever it's called, Pro Du or whatever, those guys, they're earning far more than they're earning in Fiji. So I think they've got massive issues around just the loss of their player base. And that's affecting their team.
I mean, we notice also that if you look at some of the other teams, the American teams, the British, English team, they've all got a Fijian player here and there.
Absolutely.
So obviously they're going where the money is.
Yeah, they are.
And it's an aging team as well. Yeah. Whereas a lot of the other countries now have got a young team. If you look at Wales, for example, their team, I think the average age is like 19 or 20. Really? They've got a young team. Whereas the Fijian team is about 3 or 4 older guys there now. Yeah. So they're not coming through as well through the ranks. But like you said, the youngsters are looking for opportunities abroad. Yeah. So
yeah, well, I think it was a fantastic game. Let's quickly look at the HSBC Sevens World Series rankings as they stand at the moment. South Africa top of the pile there on 59 points. This is, of course, after 3 games, the previous legs being Australia, Dubai, and then, of course, the one in PE, South Africa. So South Africa top of the pile on 51 points. Fiji's in second place, ironically, still. New Zealand in third place. Then it's Australia, Argentina, England. The Samoans are in 7th place. Scotland and the United States, who've had a fantastic season so far. And then in 10th, going downwards, 10 to 18, we're sitting there in Wales, France, Canada, Portugal, Kenya, Japan, Brazil, Zimbabwe, and then American Samoa. American Samoa? Have we got a team called American Samoa in the Sevens? I don't know. I haven't even heard of the American Samoa.
I haven't seen them play yet, so I don't know.
I'm sure that's a mistake there. But if you look at that 7 list of rankings there, the team that strikes for me that's really the wheels have come off on is Kenya. Yeah. I mean, I know that Paul Chu is left there and they had a couple of issues and so forth, but also maybe this is going to make things even worse for them now.
Yeah, I mean, we were up there last year to play a game, and they were focusing very hard on their 15s to get into the qualify for the World Cup, and then they came very close in Madagascar when they just lost to Namibia. And I was a bit sorry for them because they were doing something. They were so enthusiastic about their rugby, but I think this Paul departure, they should have made, even under Paul, they should have been made in a quarter-final every tournament, which is a top 8, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's why you're saying it's not where they should be. They were regular quarter-finalists 2 or 3 years ago. and they have slipped off.
Yeah. And it looks to me like the Kenyan government has interfered a little bit there with the matters of rugby. And politics really shouldn't be interfering in sport. I think the IOC themselves have said now that they don't want governments to play any role in sport. Government must step out. Sport is the role of civil society to manage. So, all these things play a factor, and I think Kenya are going to have to work rather hard to dig themselves back out there. But the other team that I thought was doing really well was United States. Clearly, they're pushing money into rugby at the moment, beating Fiji towards their end there.
Yeah, and they're doing very well in the 15s as well. If you look at the game against New Zealand they played, I mean, the crowd, I think they had like 80,000 watching that game in America. So they have power that's coming up in the ranks now as well. They're doing very well there.
Yeah.
I mean, grassroots levels in America as well. You hear about rugby all over the show at the schools now, the colleges. So yeah, it's growing there.
I mean, when you're able to put a guy like Carlin Isles in the team, who's one of the top 40 fastest 100-meter sprinters in America, and you put him on a sevens team, it's quite nice.
Exciting stuff, yeah.
Dobson, the other guy that was, of course, the newcomer of the year was Siobolo Senatla, Siobelo, who, together with yourself, won the esteemed prize of being coach. But he was newcomer of the year. He's playing in the seven space. He's got a lot of gas, but nice to have him in the Super 15 as well.
Well, I don't know if we are going to have him. He's on one of these dual contracts, where he has to do the sevens commitments, then he can come across to us. Justin Gedult's in the same category. Which I suppose works for us from a Currie Cup point of view, but I know after that experience in the Currie Cup, there's nothing more the Stormers coaches want than for him to be available for the Stormers.
Yeah.
But he's not. He's only available, I think, when they finish. What's the last? Whenever April, I think it's Vegas or no, it's Edinburgh, isn't it?
Edinburgh, yeah.
He's only available for us after that.
And what about Ches and Colby?
Chesn is fully Western Province contracted, but we let him play the odd tournament this time of year to keep the good relationship with the Sevens. So you can get us a Nartler if we need him for an emergency. There's quite a good relationship between the Neil Powell and Rassi with Western Province in negotiating those players, because there are quite a few. I mean, Justin Gedult, he didn't have a great season at the end of last year, but he's another guy who will come through,
Yeah.
So.
Right, folks, as we mentioned earlier on, the Vasco Tavern is, of course, the place to go if you're looking for good Portuguese food and a nice evening atmosphere. Just SMS the word Vasco to 33280 and you can win yourself a 250 Rand meal voucher. Get down to the Vasco Tavern for dinner. So the Vasco Tavern kindly supporting Cape Rugby TV, and we're very to have them on board. We've got to get down there for like a peri-peri chicken. I think Riaz has been screaming for
the espetada. Yeah, I'm still waiting.
If it's Portuguese food, Dobbo, are you banting?
No, I'm not, as you can see.
But you were for a while.
My father-in-law is there.
He's the banter.
He's the biggest banter there is,
Yeah.
But I love feijoada and trinchada. I love every Portuguese food I can speak. I love it.
Yeah, lovely.
But my father-in-law is, he's coming around for Christmas, and I don't know what we're going to serve him.
You don't know what to do.
Collie mash.
Just,
Collie rice.
I think just braai. Just braai.
Yeah.
It's the middle ground. It's the middle ground. Braaiing just fixes it all up.
Yeah, that's
braaiing is good. As is banting. Braaiing is high protein and zero carbs.
Yeah.
So and it's got some fat in it as well.
You just serve him the fat.
With
a little bit of collie mash. Yeah.
If you're ever stuck, if you don't panic, just braai.
Just
That's
braai.
what they say. Yeah. Right, folks. We'll take an ad break, and when we come back, we're going to take a look what's happening in the Community Challenge. Of course, we now know who the teams are that are playing in the Community Challenge, and we'll take a look at some of those squads as well as the first setup of fixtures. Back in a sec. Welcome back, everybody. Yes, Cape Rugby TV. So let's take a quick look there at the Community Challenge. Now, Western Province are up against Boerland. The teams there in the Western Province group is, and by the way, folks, we need your logos. You can see there we still need Belhar, New Despair, and Horston. We need your logos to put up on the show. False Bay are in the Western Province group, together with Belhar, Paarl Rangers, SK Warmers, and Primrose. So that's the Province group. Up against Boerland, Horston, Never Despair, Saldanha, Roses United, and of course, Vredenburg. And then if we take a look at the Community Challenge itself, you'll see on your screen there, it's Vredenburg up against False Bay. Remember, these are home team advantage for the Vredenburg sides. I think those logos must be the other one. Western Province on the right and Worland on the left. But it's Vredenburg with home team advantage, or at least home field advantage against False Bay first. Roses United take on Belha. Saldanha take on Paarl. Never Despair take on SK Warmers. And Horston take on Primrose. All starts on Valentine's Day on the 14th of February. A couple of guys are going to be out of the mix there. But yeah, home team advantage or home field advantage for all of the Worland sides. So it's going to be quite interesting. False Bay, I'm sure, is going to come out guns blazing. They had an excellent season during 2014. Riaz, too early to tell, but there's going to be some tough games ahead, yeah?
Yeah, Primrose's opening game, Horston, runners up last year. Yeah. That's going to be a tough game for them. It'll also give them a nice platform to see where they are start of the season. False Bay ended up fifth last year for their first season back in Super League A, which is brilliant for them. So I expect a win for False Bay. It's going to be tough for Belha as well. They've got a tough opening fixture as well. So it's going to be and there, but it's nice for them to gauge after this, especially playing away. The challenge is even more there for them now to step up and obviously perform.
And we're only 7 weeks away now from the first formal official game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Toba, it's quite insane. The guys took 3 weeks off from the last fixture and we're back in pre-season training.
No, it was. I think the group who went to Saracens only had 2 weeks off.
Yeah. So that's your professional guys.
Yeah, the amateur guys 3 weeks. Yeah.
I mean, I think Durbanville had no break because they had to still go play some playoffs against Uppington and.
Oh yes, for the community, right? For the community shield.
So they played well into October.
Yeah.
Do you believe in this burnout thing or too much rugby?
It's definitely too much rugby. On every level, there's too much rugby.
Really?
Not so much I think our club format is pretty chilled now. But you're talking about the actual league season.
Yeah.
But to have guys, we were talking about it earlier, Riaz and I were saying, I mean, to have guys training pre-season in October, you know, when they're just finished in September, amateur level, even professional level, because that's why I distance myself from the Vodacom team at the moment. They're going to hear my voice from January through to the end of October. I need to, we need to somehow keep these guys fresh. Keep these guys fresh somehow.
But I don't know, we heard this nonsense. We've heard, I don't buy it. I don't buy this too much rugby thing. I think if you look at some of the other sports, the guys play right through and in some cases play or do sports that are physically tougher. So, but that's my personal opinion. I'm sure I'll get caned by all the sports scientists out there. But I don't have time for that as the crybaby sports. If you start saying you've had too much. One of the things that we've heard over the years is the Springboks, they play too much, and we heard the same thing this year. But none of the Springboks played in the Currie Cup.
Yeah.
So do you think there's still too much?
When I say too much rugby, I actually don't mean it from an athletic point of view too much. I mean it from the point of like Super Rugby. I'd rather go and watch the traffic outside than watch the Rebels against the Force or something. The format is too. We don't know who won the rugby championship 3 years ago. We don't know who came. You can't remember.
Yeah.
I can tell you the score of the 1997 Lions here. When the Lions were here, I have to get back to touring, and the format of international rugby is wrong.
Yeah.
But I mean, Super Rugby, Watertown Currie Cup, a Super Rugby tournament that's too long. And it's become about player depth, not about the best team it's winning. It's a team with the best depth.
But isn't that
that's that formatting to me is wrong.
But don't you think that's just perfect that this year what happened was because of this thing that they took all the Springboks out of all of the teams, we were able to actually get a clear gauge on Western Province versus the other guys, and immediately they were shown up that they had no depth.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. I think the Currie Cup, if you view it as a developmental tournament now, is perfect like that.
Yeah.
But Super Rugby is dreadful, I think.
I mean, I love the fact that we said, okay, let's see what you guys, all teams, let's see what you can all do without Springboks.
They came up short.
Everybody came up short.
With the exception of the Lions, because they don't have any Springboks.
Well, that's right. So
then now they've got.
So they're kind of weak weak and strong at the same time. Yeah. I mean, the traffic out there is pretty good at the moment. So if you're going to have to watch traffic, then I recommend the M5 at about 8:30 in the morning. All right, then of course the Community Challenge knockout finals. Let's look at some of the finals there. 28th of March is the knockout finals. That venue is still going to be confirmed. So there's a lot of fixtures that's going to run up to that. And then of course don't forget that the league itself will start, I think, about 3 days later, around the 1st of April. But we'll still get confirmation of the league fixtures later in the season. But knockout finals then on the 28th of March. The venue, of course, still to be confirmed. All teams are going to be fielding 23 players, and Western Province and Boland will both be fielding first, second, and third teams. So it's not only going to be a first team setup, which I think is good, Dobber. If you think about that, then you're going to have a little bit more. You can't only play the first team because your second and third team guys then don't want to come to practice. They're not around.
I think what Province is great is with the 3 teams and the under 20 team, and the clubs obliged that, because then you're going to get even more clubs, and they're going to, if it was just first teams, the whole thing atrophies. And
Atrophies. Riaz, can you interpret for me, please? I didn't get the upmarket education.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you on that one.
but I got it for free.
Is that related to atrophy?
Exactly. That's the verb of atrophy.
The verb of atrophy. Still no idea what you're talking about.
The problem, like the universities have got a problem, and I think other teams with the if the Varsity Cup only runs the first team. And community, the CLC, the National Community Shield, only runs the first team. So what do those poor other guys do till the league starts? And they've got half-hearted friendlies that they're trying to pick up. So I think this is brilliant that we always run three teams like this.
And that's where we've spoken about this before. It comes down to can the coach motivate the second and third team guys?
I was there.
Yeah. So you've got to turn your club more into a social space, Riaz?
Yeah, your second and third team, obviously, but now that's the challenge that clubs have got. And you know, obviously, you're coming from a varsity background that you don't normally have that problem because they're there. You know what I mean? The players are there. But with the clubs, it's very difficult because we've got to actually motivate them to come to the you know, that's why you've got your sevens tournaments in the off season. You've got all of the periphery players coming and taking part in those tournaments. So you've got to keep the interest there.
All the more reason why club rugby must even more be a social activity. Yeah.
Well, it's difficult to say that because a lot of the teams actually want to be competitive, man. They want to be competitive at the top.
No, I'm saying it's fine to be competitive. Be as competitive as possible, but make your whole club a social experience. It's got to be a full, busy, active club where you want to come to the club, it's like going to play squash. You're going to play squash in the afternoon and then go for a little bit of a snack.
I hear what you're saying. You've got to have activities around the rugby, you mean, to create it as well, clubs are trying to do that as well. You know, they've got the little functions throughout the year, whatever they are. But it's difficult, you know, you've got to try. You've got small committees trying to make these things happen. And not everybody's always on board to help. And like you say, the biggest issue with clubs at the moment now is sponsorships. You need to be able to get those sponsorships in order for you to be able to build from a platform to get these players active. A lot of the players come from backgrounds where they don't have money. You know, they come from disadvantaged communities, etc., etc. So there's problem with transport, money, getting to places. So you need to have a base to build from in order to make this happen. I mean, it's easy to say that you need to have it as a social, but in order to do it, you need help at the clubs and you need money at the clubs.
The clubs, coaches and administrators must start thinking out the box. It's part of the transformation charter anyway. I mean, how hard is it to tell the clubs, right, this weekend or this Saturday we're going to have a bring and braai, or we're going to have a dance, or we're going to have a fun run, or we're going to have a paint your face competition for the kiddies. You know, there's so much that you can do. And it's not around sponsorship. I mean, I think, yes, it is sponsorship when you need to have say for example, a golf day, you know, but that's like a little bit over the top. It's it's a community environment. It's a clubhouse. It's a clubhouse for you to come and hang out and chill and have a bit of fun. And maybe you would have been at a quick practice before that, played a bit of touch or sevens, I don't know.
Yeah, you need to get into the communities in order to do that. So maybe the clubs need to then work more on getting into the communities and getting more assistance from the communities as well, instead of just maybe then focusing on only the rugby.
I think whether it's misnomer of this idea of community clubs, so in our mind that means a club that was previously disadvantaged, but there are actually some community clubs have different meaning to me now. A guy like False Bay or Durban, what they've done there, they've become community clubs. They draw from the community. They do all these activities that you guys are talking about, you know. Whereas perhaps UCT, for example, it's not a community club.
It's not a community club.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
No. And it's the community clubs are the ones that are going to, exactly what you're saying, I think are going to do well.
And they're getting stronger, and we've seen that over the last few years, I mean, they're drawing, if you look at villages, for example, and I don't always like using villages as an example, but in fact, villages has turned out to be a very good role model for a club that was down and out, had lost touch with their roots, and what did they say? Okay, well, we haven't got money, so what we need to do is go back to our feeder schools, we need to knock on the door, reintroduce the culture, the heritage. So if you haven't got something to work with, like if you don't have got money to work with, you better work on things like pride and history and culture and tradition.
Well, the important thing at villages is they've got a permanent person employed at the club to do those things for them. And obviously if you can get a backing to pay that person at the club, then it's fine, because then you've got admin people to do it for you. But a lot of the smaller clubs might not have that specifically to pay somebody to do that for them, have a fax machine set up with a telephone, etc. So they are in a fortunate position that they have that set up already. So they've got Ramiz there. Ramiz runs around, does everything for them specifically. So that's good.
But if you look at a club like Collegians, they broke into Collegians the other day. They stole the geezers. They've got they keep breaking into Collegians. They break down the fences. They steal the geezers. They break the windows. The whole place is Collegians is bugging. I mean, it really is. Like, that is the field. They've got one security guard. I think he gets paid like something like 2,000 rand a month to work there from 6 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock in the evening. Yeah, it's a dangerous place. But Collegians, what do? clubhouse or no clubhouse, they get things done. They've got youth squads, they've got the community supporting them, the moms and dads come out to support their kids who are part of the team. And of course, you know, they've also got a very cultural background, rich background of, you know, of the community supporting the club. So you can get it done. You just got to think out the box if you've got the willpower. You need the willpower. Right, folks, we're going to take an ad break. When we come back, we'll take a look at some of the Varsity Cup fixtures, and we'll also take a look at what's happening with some of the IRB coaching courses that are coming up next year. So start getting yourself ready to do those IRB coaching courses. Back in a sec. Hello everybody, welcome back. Yes, of course, Cape Rugby TV. Let's quickly take a look at those Varsity Cup fixtures starting on the 9th of February. It's even earlier. It's Pika up against NMMU and Pot. Shimlers take on Tuks, CUT take on UJ, UCT take on Marties in Cape Town. And then the first round fixtures on the 2nd of February, even sooner, is UWC against UKZN in Cape Town. Of course, at Dobson and TUT take on Fort Hare in Tshwane. So those are your fixtures, all getting started very, very soon. All right, so as early as the 2nd of February, the Varsity Cup kicks off. IRB level coaching courses, Western Province will be holding for you. Okay, so course descriptions for coaches of a group of players working under the guidance of a head coach, coaching coordinator, or NGB scheme. On successful completion of the course, a coach will be able to identify playing positions, methods of scoring and attack and defense, apply the principles of rugby to play the game, identify skills and faults, plan a session, deliver a session, apply risk management and ethics. I'm reading it all out to you. Laws of the game, and it's going to take you 8 hours. Prerequisites are, of course, that you need to be over 18. That's about as simple as that. Riaz, you're quite involved in this from the rugby committee point of view, coaching course. There's quite a lot to learn there.
Definitely. The first one, the IRB level 1, we tell all the clubs to send at least 1 or 2 members to take part of this. It's 250 Rand to start off with. It falls under the auspices of Jeff Krauster's section at Western Province. They've been doing it for a good couple of years now. And it's absolutely brilliant. You can just start somewhere because previously, obviously, there weren't all those opportunities for coaches. These days now you can earn a lot of money. It's actually a job, you know what I'm saying? You can earn a lot of money from coaching. So it's good for the guys to get in there at a young age already. Send somebody from your club, somebody a little older, more mature, and somebody a bit younger to obviously learn from that person as well going through it. So the IRB level 1 starts in January, 250 Rand. And then the IRB level 2, once you finish your IRB level 1.
Let's take a look at that. We've got it on the screen here. IRB level 1 coach, the first one is on the 31st of January. That's a Saturday from 9 in the morning till 5 in the evening. Closing date for the applications is 23 January. You can wear tracksuits and a shorts if you want to. It doesn't say you have to wear tracksuits and a shorts. And it's 250 Rand a week payment before the course, and a minimum of 30 or a maximum of 40 coaches per course. And then the next one is on the 6th of February. Closing application date for that is 30 January. It's on Friday afternoon from 1:30 until 8 in the evening at Brookside Villages. Tracksuits and shorts again, and again 30 to 40 coaches per course. Riaz, we get sum it up?
Yeah, you have to come with a tracksuit or short, something comfortable preferably, because the last portion you run around. There's a little short portion where you actually got to do coaching and they actually assess you on what you do.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I might do this course.
You have to, why not?
Everybody thinks because I'm a TV commentator that I know all this rugby. But I mean, John, let me ask you something. We keep watching TV rugby. When you're watching TV rugby, you listen to the commentators, there's a world of difference between what you're learning in a coaching course and what you see on TV.
Yeah, it's once, especially once you've done your video reviews and you've gone through all the stats, you see a different game. You know, you just see how much a guy's worked on a kick chase. That's nobody's interested in TV, so nobody's done that on TV. But now you see a different game.
Yeah.
You know that we know that Ali Famark is just his work rate is something stratospheric. So I think the world, he looks like a reasonably solid normal prop. But if you see how many rucks that Ali is hitting and how he's working on the kick chase and things like that, he's a phenomenon.
But the distinction between a couch coach and a really on the field is quite. Let's quickly look at some of the other fixtures there. At least those are fixtures. We keep thinking of the fixtures, but I suppose there are fixtures. They're coaching course fixtures. On the 13th of February, there's another course. This one's at Florida Park. Tracksuits and shorts again. Starting at 1:30 through to 8 o'clock, closing date is 6, and then on the 6th of March. So, Riaz, there's in fact, there's more.
There's level 2.
There's another 2. Well, we're going to get level 2 in a sec, but 13th of March, and then the 17th of April. So we've got 31st of January, 6th of February, 13 February, 6 March, 13 March, and 17 April. So 6 courses for the IRB level 1.
Yeah, it runs all the way till November for IRB level 1. Different places, Paarl, Florida Park, northern suburbs, country obviously, and then obviously Brookside and Newlands as well.
If you're coaching at a club, you have to have IRB what?
2. Well, for the first team, 2. You need to do your 2. There's a certain amount of hours you need to complete as well, practical. So there's practical assessments that go in as well. And you need to, the most important part that they've added onto the course is you need to do your IRB online course.
Your IRB online course?
There's an online section you need to do as well. You won't get certification if you haven't done that. So you need
tell
to
us
go.
A little bit more about. Do you have to wear tracksuits and shorts for the online course?
Oh, well, if you're comfortable in front of the computer, yeah, why not? But yeah, but you need to do that, the online course, because obviously when you get certified level 2, then for level 3, the IRB will send. Well, the Western Province sends a list through to the IRB of coaches that's in a list. I think Baba Murat from Rangers
was. They want to check that you didn't smuggle your course back here.
And that's normally the case in Cape Town, isn't it?
Yeah.
But anyway, so then the IRB level 3, they decide from that pool that province sends through to them of a list of coaches. So you need to have your online course section done as well with the IRB.
All right, so you're going to do an online course as well.
Yeah.
How difficult is this course for folks that want to go on the IRB course? I mean, it's 8 hours.
Yeah.
How difficult is it? Do you need to know your rugby before you go on the course?
No, it's pretty basic. The IRB level 1 is pretty basic. Obviously, with the IRB level 2, it becomes a bit more intensive. But for your IRB level 1, it's a perfect starting point for even for women coaches, anybody that wants to get involved at the club. It's perfect. It's not very difficult. It's easy. It takes you through just the basics of knowing what to do and little things, little nuances of the game, so to speak. But that's about it.
Do they focus on things like we were talking to Dobson about conditioning side of things? Do they?
No.
They just focus on coaching?
No, IRB level 1 is just ball skills.
How to pass a ball?
How to pass a ball, how to get players. You see, what it does is, it's if you want to start with the under 17, for example, how to teach them just to, in a straight line, pass the ball back and forth, and how you command them to do what it is that you need to carry over. So it's more on a coaching perspective, your skills and how you can carry the message over to them. It's not very intense.
Dobson, you did all these courses, huh?
Yeah, up to 3.
Up to 3. What did you? What? I mean, apart from learning rugby, but you knew how to coach a team before.
To be fair, I didn't do one. We were allowed to, I think, because it's come in recently, and I think it's great. I mean, the amount of the courses they're offering is extraordinary.
But you were coaching rugby before. You didn't need coaching courses.
Yeah, but I mean, that was in sort of more amateur days, 7 to 8 years ago. It's changed a lot like that.
So
now.
what did it add on?
I mean, smart and only after the IRB qualification. It's brilliant.
So from the time that you were coaching, I mean, when you were coaching like at school level and things like that and stuff like that, and then you went and did your IRB course, were you sitting there thinking, oh well, I know all the stuff, or did it?
You got a little bit of arrogance about you. You think, especially when you do, you think you know it all.
Yeah.
But when these guys their courses are really well run, and they do challenge you, and they ask you things that maybe you don't think of, especially like in an organisational front, of the way you plan your sessions and the length of sessions. So you don't actually necessarily go and learn the greatest technical detail, but you learn how to coach.
You learn how to coach. Okay.
And that's the important thing. Ask questions, get the feedback.
But now, the other thing that I want to know is how important is it then, if you're doing the IRB coaching course, how important is it maybe to do the refereeing course?
Well, it just helps with coaching. It can help you in any aspect. Whether you're a player, you can do the refereeing coach.
Would you advise that?
Yes,
right?
I would.
Would you, John, Dobson?
That's something actually you're thinking about. I mean, it's funny you asked.
Yeah. Referee's course.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I mean, there's almost pointless coaching if you don't know the rules.
Exactly, it's very important. I've got my referees coach. I've got my certification. I've got it as well for IRB level 1 already. I'm enrolled for level 2 for this year as well. But it helps you in every aspect of the game. You need to teach your players what the rules are when it comes to a ruck breakdown laws. And there was a new law implemented now a couple of months ago as well. The IRB sent a mail out. So there's new laws changes as well, little tweaks that they do to the laws. So you need to keep up to date with these things all the time, because otherwise your players are going to be doing the wrong thing when they play on a Saturday.
I mean, you can tackle a guy and he's like up in the air, and you can coach how to tackle a guy in the air, and you find out afterwards you're not allowed to tackle a guy in the air.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, okay, so let's quickly look at the IRB level 2 coaching courses. We've got 4 coaching courses through the next couple of months. First one's on the 20th of March at Newlands from 10 o'clock until 7 o'clock. Then the 21st of March on the Saturday, 8 o'clock to 2 o'clock. And then further courses at Brookside, Florida Park and Newlands in April, August and September. We'll keep you updated on that. But I think the one that you want to notice there is the 20th of March and the 20th of March on the Friday and Saturday. So those are IRB level 2 coaching courses. The difference between IRB 1 and 2, Dobson?
Riaz?
Much more intense.
Much more intense?
Yeah, because now you've got modules attached to it as well, where you need to complete that as well. They even send an assessor out to come and watch you at the club, and you need to have, I think it's about 30 to 100 hours under your belt coaching a team. between 30 and 100 hours.
Okay, so you first have got to do about coaching.
You've
before
got to
you...
be an existing coach already.
right,
Yeah.
okay.
So
It's
you've
good to
got to already be coaching a second team, a third team, a first team,
Right.
or a school team under 19, whatever, before you can actually get your certification for IRB level 2.
All right, folks. The Vasco Tavern is, of course, your favorite Portuguese restaurant, kindly supporting Cape Rugby TV. If you want to win yourself a dinner voucher, the value of 250 Rand, just SMS the word Vasco to 33280, Vasco Tavern down in Alpha Street. Congratulations there to Len Daly. Len wins for himself a 250 Rand dinner voucher at the Vasco Tavern. Len, I think you're going to have a lekker time there. Go have a peri-peri chicken or a peri-peri steak roll or a espetada and a couple of cold ones to go with that. Dobbo, thank you very much for joining us. It's been great having you on the show, as always.
Thanks, chaps. Have a good Christmas. It was fun.
Well, I mean, we're just proud to have the Western Province's best coach.
We know that's not true.
Riaz, thank you very much.
Thank you,
We'll
JP.
catch up with you soon, I hope.
Will do, yeah. And a special festive greeting to everybody out there, all the players and all the admin people at the clubs.
There we
Be
go,
safe.
folks. That's a wrap. Cape Rugby TV. We'll see you again next week, same time, same place. Have a fantastic rugby weekend. Bye-bye.